the potential consequences of hiring employees who are not solidly committed to value, to integrity, to advancing an organization in its market. The consequences are that sooner or later you lose sight of what it takes to make an organization grow, and you have a very shaky foundation. I've always been interested in teaching. And I also, at one point in my life, got a doctorate with the idea of being able to go into teaching. And I've always enjoyed mentoring people, so to speak. One of the things that I did as an executive with a variety of retail companies was get in younger folks who maybe were new to their job, but they had skills out of college, they had enthusiasm, they had ability, and I always enjoyed working with them and getting them to the point where later on they can run departments, things of that sort. I also was the kind of manager, leader at times, that enjoyed talking with people and getting them from point A to point B, getting buy-in, and then also seeing what new ideas came out of them, new approaches, things like that. And I enjoyed it. And to me, what I understood was the best of teaching is that kind of thing. And I think when you have unethical leadership, or you have leadership that's more focused on themselves, what you have is an organization that begins to drift and forget why they're there. And what they're focusing on is self-perpetuating themselves instead of connecting to its market, whatever that market is, whatever their goal is, whatever they're trying to do. Every organization has a responsibility to put the best product forward to a particular market and shape it for it and help them to get enjoyment out of it, or learning. Learning is a form of enjoyment. All those kinds of things. And I think that what happens is that if you have a core of what amounts to unhealthy leadership, you begin to get an unhealthy organization, you get unhealthy employees, you bring an employee in who's focused mainly on themselves, you sacrifice a sense of team and teamwork. Take a look at journalism, which I was involved with, especially the editorial product of daily newspapers at one point. It's really important for us to focus on what you might even call so-called, quote, soft skills. Anyone can teach someone how to operate a camera. And anyone over time can probably teach someone how to tell a story and how to edit, or how to, if there's a certain level of skill or talent in the person that you're teaching, they can learn that. But what you don't learn is the integrity of, okay, I may tell a story, but is it a true story? Does it work for the organization, for the people who I'm going forward to? I think that's one of the things that you lose. I think if you take a look at the news industry today, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, you see an unhealthy industry. And I think that the whole discussion of fake news, for example, I think that the fact that there is in fact fake news out there, I think that's unhealthy, and that's what it looks like. I think from the organizational side in journalism, unhealthiness is when when so many media outlets will think the same way and say the same things without digging, without checking, without doing all the basics of what good journalism or good digital journalism is. I think that's a sign of an unhealthy industry. In its healthiest state, you take a look at what your market is, you understand what the market is, and you bring people shaped information, formatted information, directed information, and you help them understand the way the world is, or the way maybe in the advertising, public relations area, the marketing area, your vision, to see if your vision can fit with their vision and how to bring the two together. All of our different disciplines within the School of Communication, Digital Content, are interested in getting people to help an organization grow and using digital tools and promotional type approaches to do that. I think that's really what all of them share. And the idea is if you're doing it right, you can achieve your goals and you can achieve growth for a company. And what happens is if you bring the wrong people in, it poisons the organization. Because pretty soon you get this drift. And pretty soon you get a bunch of people under them who have to look at them and say, if they're in that position, that's not right. That's not the way I want to go. And you begin to lose some of your better employees. I truly do believe that an employer should look for someone who has at least a modicum of faith. As we define it at Liberty. Now, I became a Christian when I was a little over 40 years. Actually, I was 45 years old. And so I spent a lot of my career hiring people without even considering how they interacted. But as I began to look at it, one of the interesting things to me was over the years is that there was a self-confidence in people who later it turned out that they were better Christians, so to speak, or they were believing in nature. They should be looking for characteristics that go along with it, such as a focus on helping others and other directedness. I think a Christian, when we're successful, provides a person going out there for a job with a sense of other directedness that frankly helps them succeed. It helps them succeed because they say they're naturally focused toward a target or a market or an audience or a viewership, whatever you want to call it in all of our disciplines. They're focused on that rather than on themselves. I think one of the things that I truly do enjoy now as a Christian is being able to see the world through another person's eyes, or through what I think might be God's eyes, and trying to understand it that way. Because I think what happens is then when you're hiring someone with that sense of, I'm going to direct myself toward others and try to figure out how I can help this organization, you're hiring someone who's good in the long run.